An 8-inch by 10-inch photograph is put into a rectangular frame of uniform width. If the area of the frame and picture together is 120 square inches, what is the width of the frame in inches? So we're going to begin with our 8 by 10-inch photograph, not super concerned about the direction and the order where we put the 8 and where we put the 10, but here's our 8 by 10-inch photograph. And around that photograph, we are going to put a border of an indeterminate width around the outside of that photograph that we don't know just yet. That's going to be our X. When we are provided with an area, that area is given to us for the frame and the picture together, meaning that area is all of this space in here. Now, the 10 and the 8 aren't specifically helpful because they're only for the picture, and the X by itself is not helpful because it's only the width of the frame. So instead, we need to consider those two together. And what are the dimensions of this larger outside green rectangle? Well, if this side was 10, and we added an X to each side of it, our new side length would be 10 plus 2X. And if this side was 8, and we added an X to each side of it, this side is now 8 plus 2X. Multiplying the two of those together, 10 plus 2X times 8 plus 2X, gives us our area of 120 square inches. This is the equation that we will solve in the quadratic model that we've created to determine the width of the frame so that we end up with a total area of 120. Notice that at no point did we multiply the 8 and the 10 together to consider the area of the frame. However, the first leg of the multiplication is that 80 that we know is taken up by the picture. Follow that with a 20x, then a 16x, then a 4x squared. All of that equals 120. Whether or not we want to try to factor this polynomial and solve it, or we want to use the quadratic formula, either way, this thing needs set equal to 0. Moving some terms around and combining those that need to be combined, we have a new version of 4x squared plus 36x minus 40 equals 0. All of those terms are divisible by 4. So we divide all of those terms by 4. And this equation will have the same solutions as that equation, same x-intercepts if we were to graph. This looks like a perfect candidate to try to factor, which we can, x plus 10 and x minus 1. And we get two solutions, x is equal to negative 10 and x is equal to 1. If this was a decontextualized example that I handed you, both of those numbers would be solutions. However, because we know x is a representation for the width of a frame, we know that x cannot be negative 10. That means that x must be 1. We're able to disregard the negative solution. Letting x equal 1, that means that this side length would be 10, and that side length would be 12, and the width of the frame would be 1. And that makes sense because 10 times 12 is 120. So an inch was added onto each side of the picture to create the frame. And we got that 1 inch from our two solutions, one of which we can easily disregard.